You know, I like this story.
Yeah, so I guess it was so May 22nd, so it was the beginning of the week, and there was a story that a mother and daughter had gone into Pound World, and somebody had phoned the store and convinced the store staff that these customers were going to win some money if they could do some challenges.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there was, they were like licking feet and racing like horses down one of the aisles. This is just really weird. Like, I don't know how anybody convinced the store staff that this was actually happening.
Oh, wow.
It kind of got a bit weird, and they've got the police involved, although I can't quite work out what crime has been committed. Um, and Poundland offered them a £200 voucher for the inconvenience.
It's a lot of stuff at Pound World.
Yeah. What was weirder though is this story came out on Monday, and then on Tuesday or Wednesday, somebody else had said, "Oh yeah, this happened to me in Iceland, which is a UK supermarket."
Uh-huh.
The same thing had happened to them like a few days beforehand, and it sounds like maybe it was the same guy that had phoned the store and did the same thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, you got a merry prankster in the UK.
Yeah, it's just really strange, and like the comments from the people. The last comment on the Iceland one, the woman said, "Oh, it was very surreal. It just makes you wonder." And I think, like, you're the idiot here. Like, I don't know why this. Like, I don't know why anyone just believed this guy that randomly phoned the store.
People watch too much reality TV, I guess.
Yeah, and like the
Yeah,
woman said, "Oh, I haven't got the police involved," and I can't quite work out, as I say, like what crime has even been committed here. If somebody just phones you and says, "I'll do some stupid stuff," I'm not sure what the crime is there.
the crime is that you believe them.
Yeah.
Oh, you could really fall down a rabbit hole with the links in these articles. Here's a great one. It says avocado lattes are the next hipster trend. That sounds really gross. Putting avocados in your coffee. I love a good avocado, but not in my coffee.
Yeah,
Shall
the
we?
stories get pretty weird here.
I'm going to click through. Oh, look at that. Yeah, they don't make it look appealing. Oh, I see what they do. They actually make the latte in an avocado.
Yeah, I actually heard about somebody I work with was in Amsterdam this weekend, and there was an avocado cafe, and like everything was avocado. They had like burgers where the bun was avocado, and avocado coffees and all this kind of stuff. And apparently there was like queues out the door constantly all day long. Very, very strange.
How are you supposed to pick up a hamburger that has a bun made out of a squishy avocado?
I don't know. I feel like until the last 2 weeks, I wasn't even sure I knew what an avocado was. And now, like, apparently millennials aren't buying houses because we're buying avocado toast and there's avocado coffee. I don't know what's going
Well, see, you're doomed now that you know about the avocado. You're never going to own a home.
on. I know. This is the thing. I found out, and now I'm just, up to my knees in avocados. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. Well, that's an interesting story.
Yeah, should we... let's probably maybe just leave that behind because we could be here all day just looking through these ridiculous links.
Yeah, we could. We should talk about WWDC. I am taking off for WWDC, and well, I guess it's less than a week now, and staying the whole week, and I'm looking forward to it. I think more this year than any year in the past. I really don't have any idea what's going to happen. There have been so many rumors, especially rumors about hardware, which is very unusual. I mean, there's not traditionally been a lot of hardware announced at WWDC. The last bit of hardware that came out at WWDC, and it didn't even come out, it was announced, was the Mac Pro. The trash can Mac Pro was announced in 2013, so 4 years ago, and it didn't go on sale until the last few days of 2013. So it's been a long time since there was hardware. Now, I think a year or two before that, Apple did announce and put on sale the Retina MacBook Pros from that era, whatever, 20, I'm not sure if it was 2011 or 2012. I think it was 2012. So there was hardware before that, but it's been a pretty long drought since there was any hardware at WWDC.
Yeah, I think like generally they'll release or at least announce hardware there. Like the Mac Pro is fairly obvious. That's for pro users. Whatever that means, we're not going to get into that. But developers, people like that. So it kind of makes sense to announce it at WWDC. And I think the Retina MacBook Pros kind of made sense because there was some work for developers to do to support the Retina, resolutions and things like that. And I think did they announce the Apple TV at WWDC, or was that later on? I can't really remember.
No, the original Apple TV was announced at the same keynote as the iPhone. It was a Macworld Expo
Right.
in 2000.
What about the recent one? Because obviously that had like the SDK for building apps and stuff like that. Was that not WWDC?
I don't remember that one. Yeah, I don't remember when that was. Yeah, and so all the hardware that's been rumored this time around is Siri in a can. New Retina MacBook Pros with better chipsets, I guess. And then what else has been rumored? I guess iPads too, right?
Yeah, iPads as well. And then there's this rumor that like Amazon Prime is coming to the Apple TV, and I wonder if that is going to be related to a 4K Apple TV, because obviously Prime have a huge amount of 4K content.
Yeah, Prime Video, right. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so let's think about this. What do you think is going to be announced? I'm pretty pessimistic that there's going to be much hardware. I'll give you that much up front.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like, it seems unlikely to, without any of the rumors. Like, I would just say, well, no, of course we're not going to get any hardware at WWDC. It doesn't make any sense. But the rumors for the MacBook Pros and possible the Air updates kind of seem to be pretty strong. I mean, Mark Gurman is saying that's happening, and a few other places. And I wonder if it's like a response to some of the backlash for the MacBook Pros, and they're going to say look, we've updated them with the Kaby Lake processors, and you can order them now or whatever. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, it doesn't really seem like the right place to be announcing brand new hardware like that.
Yeah, I think the Siri in a can I find very hard to believe. I think that we'll see new Siri Kit APIs that may kind of signal that Siri in a can is coming, potentially, but I don't think we're going to see it at WWDC. I hope I'm wrong. I think I'd like to kind of check out that product. I think, especially if you're deep into the Apple ecosystem, it could be useful if you have Apple Music and HomeKit devices and all that, because I'm assuming it's going to be a hub for HomeKit and have music integrated, which if it doesn't have music integrated, they shouldn't even bother. But I think the backlash is the one thing that makes me hesitate in my pessimism about hardware coming out, because I could kind of see the laptops coming out partly in response to the backlash with better processors, but that's the kind of thing that, but for the backlash, I would think that it would just be announced as part of a press release sometime in the late summer, early fall, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of the Siri in a can, whatever you want to call it, I mean, as you say, like the biggest advantage for Siri in a can would be the fact that it had Apple Music, because you can't do Apple Music on Google Home and you can't do it on the Amazon Echo, natively to the device. You can obviously Bluetooth connect, but that's not quite the same thing. But I wonder if it's worth them announcing at WWDC if there's some kind of third-party app support, which I assume there will be, because Apple, they pretty much have app support for all of their platforms now.
Right. That's right. And I think another reason why we could see it is that it's not the kind of thing where they have an existing product that'll get cannibalized by it. If they have this coming out, it's new. So they could, I suppose, say, here it is, start making apps for it. It's coming out in whatever, September, something like that. I don't think we're going to see it go on sale next week.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd almost certainly think it's not going to be next week, and it will be, as you say, later in the year, possibly with iOS 11, for maybe perhaps various integrations that go with that.
Yeah, what do you think about iPads? That's the one where I think that there's probably it's the most likely that they'll actually come out, only because it feels like Apple probably got behind on updating the iPads and the software for them, and I could see a new iPad coming out next week.
Yeah, I can definitely see that because, as you say, like, there are some differences between the two different sizes of the iPad Pro, and then we've got whichever the new one is. I guess it's just called the new iPad. I think a lot of the new changes though are really going to come with iOS 11, presumably. If there are any big changes, but it's kind of hard to tell because, as you say, there really hasn't been that many rumors about features that are coming for the iPad or the iPhone. There's not been too many leaks that have been really verifiable about the iPhone or the iPad at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it's just I actually kind of ignore the rumor mill for the most part because it just seems like a waste of brain power to think about which ones are actually going to happen. I mean, I kind of like doing it now because we're getting close to WWDC and I'd like to think about what the hardware is. But I think people have gotten their hopes up way too high on hardware. I mean, we'll see a lot of software. We'll see some cool stuff, I think, with iOS and macOS, but hardware, I think, is going to be more of a footnote than anything else. And I hope I'm wrong. And in 2 weeks, when we talk again, you can tell me that I'm full of it. But we can. Hopefully, I've been proven wrong, and this is an embarrassing recording. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of hardware.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I mean, the big one for me, I really want to see them come out and say, "Oh, here's a new Apple TV. It's got UHD 4K support. Oh, and by the way, Amazon Prime's on it." Because then I can go back to using the Apple TV rather than the Fire TV box. Because the Apple TV, the software is really nice to use. Like, it's smooth and it's quick. Never mind the fact that the remote is a bit weird, and there is obviously some problems with the TV. Like, I would much prefer to use the Apple TV, but without Amazon Prime Video on it, it's kind of useless to me. And of course, it doesn't support 4K, so I'm hoping we get that, but I'm not holding my hopes out for it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a good possibility that we'll see that Amazon support is going to be announced, just as part of at the beginning of a lot of keynotes, you get here's what's happening with the Mac, here's what's happening with the iPhone, here's what's happening in retail. There could be here's what's happening with the Apple TV. I would be shocked if we saw new hardware with 4K support. If that comes out, it's going to come out, I think, in the fall.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like I say, it's just me wishful thinking at this point. Obviously I don't have an iPhone or an iPad anymore, so I'm kind of just like focused on the two things I care about, which is the MacBooks and the Apple TV.
Yeah, they could do it. They need to. I think they need a better processor and GPU in the Apple TV. It's several generations behind the iPhones and iPads in terms. I forget what it is. Maybe an A8 or A8X.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Some variant of the A8 is in it, and that limits it a little bit. And it's not been out that long. But yeah, I think 4K will eventually come, and I think it'd be nice to have Amazon on there. I mean, I remember the very first rumor when there was some support person on Twitter said, "Oh yeah, we're working on an Apple TV app." Wasn't that last year about this time, right before WWDC?
Yeah, there was a couple of instances of it, where a support rep had told various people, it's coming, don't worry, for now you can just use AirPlay, which don't even get me started on that as being a solution. But yeah, somebody within Amazon is obviously saying, yeah, it's coming to the support staff, and then, for whatever reason that hasn't happened. I assume it's because they're coming up with a proper deal with Apple to be able to sell content and rentals and stuff like that.
Right. I think it's probably that. And it may also, at least in part, be the fact that, whether they're going to be integrated into the TV app, because the TV app kind of takes control away from the content providers. It makes it transparent which app you're using. And if Amazon wants everything to be branded Amazon, it's a little harder if you're wedged into the TV app.
Yeah, definitely.
But I hope they're in the TV app. The TV app's actually pretty good.
I haven't seen it. I don't. Is it even in the UK? I'm not really sure. I haven't used my Apple TV for a long time, but
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Who knows? Well, there we go. Anyway.
Yeah, but in terms of software, I mean, I think the one thing that I'm dying for is hopefully drag and drop, copy and paste on the iPad, a better app switcher, which I would love if it included the shelf that was in Federico's concept video. I know a lot of it's interesting. The shelf has probably been the most controversial, or has created the most conversation around that video. A lot of people feel like, or at least some people feel like it's clutter, but look at how most people use their Macs. They're always parking stuff on the desktop, and instead of parking something on the home screen, park it in the shelf. It would be perfect for things like if you have to send multiple attachments in an email, just drag them up to a shelf and then drag them back down to an email and send it off as a temporary holding place. I think it's kind of a nice idea. So I'm hopeful that some of that'll happen. I've been using my Mac more and my iPad less for work type stuff because of that sort of thing. It's just easier to manipulate files on a Mac than it is on iOS, and that's got to change.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially, they're selling these iPads. That this is the iPad Pro. This is for professionals, and it is. You can do everything you need to do on it, depending on who you are. Like, for the most part, you can do it. But as you say, like things like file manipulation and drag and drop and switching between apps just isn't as fast as it is on, a traditional desktop computer.
Right. And it's, some people will say that it's a post file management world with iOS, but I don't really buy that. Between things like document providers and document pickers and the iCloud Drive app, which is kind of an abomination, Apple's already gone down the road of file management on iOS. It's just split out over a bunch of different places in the file system. There's no centralized way to deal with your files. And I think it's probably time now that changes.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Rob, you want to talk about E3? That's coming up right after WWDC, and I'm glad because at times it's been at the same time as WWDC, and I've missed the action there, and at least this time I'll be tired. I'll go home and I'll just start watching some streaming video of whatever's happening at E3.
Yeah, I mean, well, firstly, talking of the streaming, I didn't really have the opportunity to watch any of them because the streams start at about 1 a.m. UK time, and like,
oh wow,
I think the latest one is like 5 a.m. So I'll just be watching the roundups, the next day that get posted. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what comes out of this. It's Spider-Man for the PS4 is the biggest one. I'm hoping we get some gameplay and ideally a release date.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I haven't paid that much attention to that title yet, but I think, do you know if they're going to, when's that set to release? Do they have any kind of date yet, or is that one of the things we're going to hear at E3?
I'm assuming, I don't think we've actually heard a release date because they released like a teaser trailer last year at E3. So going by what normally happens, you get a teaser trailer one year and then some gameplay, and then they'll give you a release date. But I'm imagining they're probably aiming for kind of holiday season this year.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it came out at the same time as the movie, but the movie's coming out this summer, and the trailers for the movie look pretty cool.
Yeah, the movie looks interesting. The poster is terrible, but yeah, the actual movie itself looks really good. Yeah, the poster looks like I did it in Photoshop. So, but yeah, the game should be interesting. I'm sure there's some other games coming out or that we're supposed to hear about. I guess we might see some more Uncharted Lost Legacy because that's due to come out in like August.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too if we see any Switch stuff, but I don't think we will because I don't think Nintendo is participating. They may do one of their directs though. They do those Nintendo Direct videos that go straight up on YouTube nowadays.
Yeah, I think they have announced that they're doing a direct during E3.
Right, I think they did that last year too. It would be. I'm interested to see what they show. There was a preview of ARMS this weekend that I did not play because I talked to Mike Hurley about it, and he said that all you could really do is train and do training with another person online. You couldn't do the single player mode or match up with a friend or anything like that. So I was kind of busy yesterday anyway, so I just ended up blowing it off.
Yeah, I've been looking at ARMS because this seems to be like the next big title that's coming out for the Switch that Nintendo are pushing. it doesn't necessarily look like something I'm interested in. It certainly looks like, it's kind of a new take on the kind of fighting game kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like I'd want to see Nintendo at least announce like another big title for the Switch. Because I feel like they need to push to make sure they're selling as many units as possible to make sure they get enough third party developers. I mean, obviously they're selling them as quick as they can make them. But you kind of get my point.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd like to see some more, some new footage of Super Mario Odyssey, as well as maybe another first party title, because I think they're going to do, something like Animal Crossing, or maybe a Metroid announcement, something big like that would be pretty cool. Yeah, ARMS to me too. I'm a little bit in the same place as you. I'm a little on the fence as to whether it looks like it's really going to be that much fun. But I'll try it out. I've been really happy with Mario Kart. That game is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we were recording, but I've decided I'm getting a Switch now. It's just a case of finding one in stock. But right now, I'm just gonna buy Mario Kart. Like I'm not gonna get Zelda or anything like that. I'm just getting Mario Kart because I really, really want to play that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you'll be part of the 5% of the world that has not bought Zelda along with the console, because the numbers are crazy as to how many people buy that when they buy the Switch.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, it's like 90 or 95% or something attach rate for the console, which is just crazy numbers. But yeah, it's not that I'm not interested in Zelda, but like I've got a bunch of other games that I want to play on the PS4 and the Xbox, and obviously Zelda is a pretty big game.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge time sink, and I've actually put it aside for now. But I want to get back to it. But it's one of those things where if I get sucked into that game, I'll just get nothing done for weeks.
Yeah, that's kind of the same with me. Like I lost a lot of time to Horizon. Like I think it took me like 75 hours to finish that. And I know that Zelda will be the same. And I also know there's DLC coming at some point. I mean, maybe we'll hear something about that during E3 and the Direct. Maybe I'll wait it out until I can get the game and the season pass for a decent price or something. But if not, if I just suddenly decide to get it, it's not. I can get it on Prime now within a couple of hours, so it's not a huge deal breaker.
True. The first DLC is coming out, I think, in early July, and it's outfits for Link, like the Tingle suit, and the Korok mask and a bunch of other things. And then there's some really more usability features than anything else for people who have been playing a lot, because you can see on the map where you've been in the past, so that kind of gives you an idea of where you should go that you haven't explored yet. But the new level type, new areas of the map aren't opening until later, I think, in the fall. So I could see Nintendo putting that in their Direct and showing maybe a little bit of some of the new parts of the game that are going to be added.
Yeah, that sounds. It's like as I say, it sounds good. I know that if I buy it, I'm going to lose a lot of time to it. So I'll wait a little bit until I finish some of the other games that I've got lying around.
Have you been sucked into Nintendo Switch accessories? Because the true cost of a Nintendo Switch is practically double the console once you buy like a Pro controller and a case and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, so here's the preliminary list of things that I intend to buy. The Pro controller, I've pre-ordered the Splatoon edition one, which is pink and green. But I've pre-ordered this before I even have a Switch because I know I'm going to want it. I'm intending to buy the Joy-Con charging dock that charges 4 Joy-Cons at once. I'm possibly going to buy the Splatoon carry case, which also comes out, middle of July or something. And, maybe the charging grip for the Joy-Cons. I don't know. As you say, like, it just gets really expensive as soon as you start buying accessories for it.
For what it's worth, I have not used my charging grip yet.
Right.
Maybe that's just because I'm not using it over and over again for hours on end. The Switch itself, but I've had no problem with just using the Joy-Cons on their own. Or what I use most is the Pro Controller when I have it hooked up to the TV because I really like the Pro Controller.
Yeah, and as I say, I think if I buy the charging dock that charges 4 Joy-Cons, I think that'll probably do the trick. So I'm not going to buy the charging grip straight off. Because I'll probably be fine with just the Joy-Cons for a while.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what's going to be in my bag on the way to WWDC, and it's going to be full to the brim with electronics, and it's going to be pretty heavy.
Yeah,
because I think I'll bring my laptop, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to bring my iPad Pro. The reason to bring that would be to get if they do announce iPad Pro features, then if the beta comes out, Monday afternoon, I'll want to have that on an iPad right away, and I'll be going crazy if I don't have it with me.
Yeah. You'll end up going to the Apple store and buying one otherwise.
No. I've already spent plenty of money this year. I'm going to try to avoid buying any hardware for a little while. Knock on wood. We'll see though. Maybe I'm not going to buy an iPad. No, not yet.
So you'll have your backpack full of electronics, and from everything I've heard on podcasts, everybody's going to WWDC's taking their Switch, so you guys can have a lot of fun.
Yeah, my kids are going to hate me because I'm going to take it away for 9 days, but I think I am going to take it because I want to do some head-to-head Mario Kart with Federico.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
I'm sure he'll probably clean up the floor with me. I have not played it that much. I usually play at the 50cc level, which is the sad, pathetic level where you can't fall off the track and all that stuff. It's still fun, but it's baby Mario.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think that probably wraps it up for this week. I don't think there's anything else for E3 or WWDC.
No, I don't think so. We didn't mention, I guess, that Red Dead Redemption did announce that Rockstar announced that they're not going to have it out until spring 2018. So we can all just sit around and wait for that for another almost 12 months.
Yeah, I kind of found myself a bit relieved that it was delayed because there's so many good games coming out this year anyway. Especially if I haven't played Zelda yet, and obviously the Mario Odyssey and Crash Bandicoot HD remake is coming out, and there's a bunch of other stuff coming out this year, and I'm kind of glad that there's another game that's been pushed to next year.
Yeah, there's a new video that just came out with Crash Bandicoot gameplay, I think, which I haven't watched yet, but I heard someone told me about it.
Yeah, I think I got that on my pocket list to watch. There's been quite a few videos now, and then people do some interesting comparison videos between the original and the new trailers, which is kind of interesting. So it's pretty much games galore this year.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have any time for it, but I can still enjoy thinking about them, I guess.
Cool. Well, I guess we won't be recording till after you're back from WWDC.
So probably we're going to probably take an extra week off, I guess, because I'll be gone 2 Sundays basically.
Yeah. Well, we'll have fun in WWDC.
Thanks.
And show notes will be roommatepodcast.com/44. It is 44. That's good. I'm on Twitter at RMNurseUK. And John, where can people find you?
At John Voorhees.
Perfect.